like to ask Alan to do the toast to the river, and then ask Stan to start our new season off. Okay, thank you.
Well, I'd like to welcome you all here today, and especially Stan, our guest. It's good to see such an excellent turnout after such a long period of very bad weather, so a really impressive turnout. Well done. So, we know things change, but here we are again. Some things stay the same. Here we are, it's come round to the 2016 already. It seems such a little time since the 15 season stopped. Now, I was going to, as you know, I work for the board sometime when we do an electric fishing survey. So, as regards prospects, the team, Cammy, Geordie, Jamie's not here, I don't think. The team, we get a wee look, we get an early look at prospects. And so we started electric fishing in 2013. So I know about the fry in 2013 and the par in 2013. Those fry will be coming back as grills this year, and the par we saw in 2013, they'll be coming back as salmon. And so, from what I know, I can tell you, I think this will be quite a good year if the sea does its job and supports the fish that went away as smolts. And then, if the fish come back to the river, of course, we then have to hope the conditions will be favourable for the fishery to actually catch them. But I think 2016 will be quite a good year. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'd like to propose a toast to the river, to the fishery, to the fishermen, to the people who work on the river and keep everything going. I'd like to propose a toast to the river, and then once we've done that, I'll ask Stan to make the first cast, which you can do. So, to the river, to the salmon, and to you all. I hope you all have a really good year. Cheers. Also, as part of the ceremony, before I ask Stan to make the cast, I'd like to toast the river in the traditional way. So, here's to the fishery in 2016. Over to you then, Stan. I hope you catch something.
So Doogie, thanks for joining us today. Now, I wonder if we could begin by asking you for a summary of the 2015 season.
Well, I would say it started off slow, then it came very good in the summer. We had plenty of water most of the year. Back end was slow, and maybe in September when we'd lack of water. But the season overall was good. We had about 1,800 fish. And I think if we had the rain in September, we'd have broke the 2,000 mark. But it was a good season overall.
And looking back over the 2015 season, have you got any memorable moment, something kind of a highlight that jumps out at you?
Not particularly. But over the season, is watching Willie and Duncan mature into lovely young salmon fishers. I think that was quite a good highlight of the year for me to see that happen. And the fishing was good. but there's nothing other than that, I would say.
Now, as many of our anglers will be aware, you're taking a step back from the day-to-day running things along with my dad. Now, that's obviously going to free up a bit of time for you. What are you going to do? What plans do you have to try and fill up that free time?
What about free time? Well, maybe still do a bit. I'll do a bit of fishing if it's my hobby as well as my job. So I'll probably still do a bit of fishing in the spring. There'll be one or two things I'll do in the summer months, well, on the river with one or two guests. Otherwise, that's just enjoy my retirement. Maybe have a word with Eddie here and here.
And finally, Doogie, as it become traditional in these videos, just want to ask you, where do you think the first fish is going to come off this year, and what date do you think it will be?
First fish. At the moment, the weather's been hard frost, but before this, we've had a lot of rain. Now, if it starts going mild again, I would still reckon the top end of the river, 9 to 13, possibly 13, it's a resting fish before it runs through. You'll catch it up there. Possibly the 25th of February. And I don't know who's going to catch it. Eddie or me.
Thank you for your time here and wish you all the best in the season ahead. Okay, so we're joined here by my dad, Eddie McCarthy. So a couple of questions for you, Dad. First off, we've seen here that the river's running quite high today and we've not really had a hard winter. What do you think that tells us about what lays ahead this season?
Again, it's impossible to predict. What I would say is it was a late and prolonged spawning. I would suggest because of the warm weather that there will be fish already in the system, but with this recent very, very high water, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they're straight through the system and into Lochmore.
Which is no bad thing, is it?
It's an excellent thing, it's a good thing.
Okay, right, thank you. Now, we also know that you're going to be stepping back from the day-to-day run of things moving forward. And no doubt over the kind of last 40 or so years, you've seen a lot of changes, both good and bad. Is there a couple of highlights that you could highlight for some of our visiting anglers?
Yeah, well, for me, although not everybody agrees, one of the highlights was when the present team came in, Simon Laird at the head of it, and they took the nets off the river mouth. There's all kinds of theories on netting or no netting, but I know the effect that it had on visiting anglers, and they hated it. And when you have people travelling 500, 600, 700 miles to fish and offend them the way that we were, it was never a clever thing. So I would say the greatest thing was removal of the nets. Yeah,
and there's obviously been a lot of work done along the river banks to make it more accessible. Do you think that will continue on?
No question whatsoever. Again, the Simon and Co, they've done an immense amount of work. In fact, just very, very recently, they spent a vast amount of money putting a track in for the anglers into the middle of Beat 8 to the Luncheon Hut, and I mean a vast amount of money. So it will always be ongoing.
Excellent, okay, thank you. Now, what's your plans moving forward then, given that you'll have a little bit more free time on your hands?
Yeah. Well, Lord Thurso has asked me to look after the private beat and keep an eye on the Angling Association water of Beat 1. So that in itself will be quite time consuming. So there will always be plenty of things for me to be doing.
Hopefully get me a fish or two too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so where do you think the first fish is going to be off this year and whereabout?
Well, again, we spoke about the kind of the warm spell and the warmer water, everything. I would predict that it will come off higher up, a 12 or a 13.
Great minds think alike, because Doogie said the same thing.
Really?
So, and when do you think it'll come off?
Again, it's fishing effort. At this time of year, the fishing people will look out and say, "That's a bit cold today." Whereas if you pay for the fishing and you feel I'm going out there, so you put the effort in anyway. With the system in the springtime, it's so easy for us, and we don't fish it hard enough. So I would suggest there will be an early fish. It'll probably be toward the end of February.
Pick a date. I forced Doogie to pick one.
Right, I'd say the 20th of February.
20th of February, okay, thank you. And I want to just thank you for your time here and wish you all the best in the season ahead.
Thank you very much indeed, Clyde.
Right, so we're joined here now by Geordie Drill. So, Geordie, first off, obviously with my dad and Doogie taking a step back from the day-to-day running, is that going to mean that you'll have greater responsibility in the river?
Yes, I think it's time, to coin a phrase, it's time to step up. You know, I'm very lucky. I've been 8 seasons on the river now, I'm now going into my 9th. I'm almost becoming a veteran. Well, compared to your father and Doogie, nowhere near being a veteran. Like, years they've got. I mean, how many years have they got together? Maybe far of 100 years experience between the two of them.
Yeah.
But that in itself, what I have learned from both from Eddie and from Doogie, has stand me in good stead and will stand me in good stead for many years in the future. As long as I'm fit enough and well enough, I hope I'm here for many years to come. I think we're very lucky in Thurso. We do have a very good steady run of fish. We have dips, you know, the Grilse run in 2014 was not what we would have expected, but last season 2015 was a good recovery for me. There was a good head of Grilse through July and August, and the spring run in May for me was quite exceptional.
Yeah.
But yes, it's time. I think I've got to step up. I've got to take what I've learned from Eddie and Doogie, use what I've learned to look after the river, the internal husbandry of the river. Like I said, I'm very lucky to have been taught by both Eddie and Doogie. For me, what I have learned will stand me for many years to come.
Excellent, good stuff. So, looking back on your season last year, is there a particular highlight that you could pull out?
Well, I would say there's many highlights. Every day in the riverbank is a highlight. I mean, you're on the wonderful banks of Thurso River, maybe a little high today, kind of gutted I'm not getting a chance to have a cast the first day, but there will be plenty more days. But last year was good. There was many occasions. I mean, May was, for me personally, with 2 rods you have 2 beats and you have to call your choices correctly. If something's not happening on the beat you're on, do you take the call to go to the other beat? And I think in 2015 I called my decisions right. I was very lucky. This year I might get it wrong every day, but in 2015, especially through May, I can't remember exactly how many I got, but my guests who I had through May, who will be hopefully watching this, will remember we had some very good weeks in May. And I think the highlight for me was, I think it was the 2nd week of May. I was with 2 guys, Eric and Derek, and I managed to get fish every day of the week. And I remember going out on a Saturday morning knowing that I just had to get at least 1 fish off a bag till I've landed the fish every day a week in the spring, which is some going. And I managed to get them 1 each off the boat in the first hour in the morning before the wind picked up. And for me, that week will stick in my memory for a long time, because the class of fish were outstanding. There was none of these poor skinny things. We had a couple that were in the sort of, 7 to 9 pound region, not huge fish, but they were in outstanding condition, all fresh, if not laced and laced just off. They were, that was a brilliant week. It's a week that will stick in my mind for a long time.
Excellent. I think they're going to be queuing up for your gillian skills this season.
Like I said, I called the shots right. When we have the 2 beats, you have to say to yourself, well, is this beat working for me this morning? You obviously have to call what beat you've got first.
So, looking forward to this season then, what do you think is going to be that first good day this year where the first fish is going to come off, and where's it going to come off?
We're not getting the cold winters we used to, so I still think we're going to get milder weather through February. So I think it's going to come later February. I would predict somewhere in the 3rd week of February, and I think it'll come somewhere. I'll just go for beat 9. It's such a productive beat, and it's done it on many occasions, beat 9.
Yeah.
So I'll go for beat 9 the 3rd week of February. Trying to pick a date, it's like trying to pick your lottery number, really, to be honest.
Right, very good. Well, Geordie, thank you very much, and wish you
absolute pleasure.
all the best for the season ahead.
Thank you.
Cheers. Right, so we're joined now by John Spears from the Gillies on the River. So, John, looking back over the last season, is there a highlight that you could relate for us?
Well, last season there's quite a lot of highlights, and actually taking one out of them would be very difficult. But we did have, well, for the first time we've had, in a lot of years, we've had fish over 30 pounds, and a lot of fish in the high 20s, Unfortunately, I wasn't there when any of them were caught, but we had a fish in the high teens, and they were all good fish. A lot of anglers very happy last year, and hopefully they'll be back this year. Unfortunately, it was a year before I caught my biggest fish, so but no, it was an exceptional year last year, and let's hope we've got another one.
Yeah.
Hope Alan's predictions are right.
Here, yeah. So when do you think the first fish is going to come off this year, and where do you think it's going to be?
We haven't had a fish off in January for a lot of years. That would be nice. February's been the sort of preferred month, but last year we were very late. It was March before we had a fish. So going on that, I'd probably say a third to half the way through February. And the beats involved, depending on water levels, I would suspect would be the top of the river. But having said that, the lower beats 6 and 7 can be very productive if the conditions are right. But I would probably go for 12 or 13 Lochbeg.
Yeah.
Somewhere up there.
Well, like you say, it really could come off anywhere, couldn't
yeah.
it? There could be fish anywhere in the system. Yeah.
Well, let's face it, they've got to come through the bottom beats to get the lower beats to get to the top beats. So.
Absolutely.
But if you've got water, the chances are they're not going to be hanging around too much. They want to get up.
Racing through. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd imagine, but if the dam's running like it was last year, we didn't have the backup of fish in 13 that we've had in the past, and I don't think we had the backup in 12 that we've had in the past either, because they could get up salmon on, they could keep going.
Sure.
And the loch had a lot of fish in it.
Yeah. And I mean that's obviously good for the stock next year, isn't it? Because they're then out of reach of anglers, they're up into that spawning water.
I was speaking to Mark Perry, who's now the keeper at Dalnawillan, and he was saying up in the burns up there where he's been stalking, there's been an awful lot of fish up in these wee burns, even some of the smaller burns. So, however you look at it, it's got to be good for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again, when we talk about Alan's saying is the par and the smolt and the fry, they're excellent orders, so we've got every opportunity to.
Bodes well for the future, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just got to keep it going.
Yeah. Well, John, thank you very much, and we wish you all the best for the season ahead.
Thank you.
So we're joined now by Tim Hawes. Now, Tim, is there anything you'd like to say to our visiting anglers by means of an introduction to yourself?
Right, yeah, well, my name's Tim Hawes. I've fished the river for 22 years, I think now. We first came up to Caithness in 1993 with work, and like I say, fished it for 20 years. I've worked on the river now for 3 years, had three seasons gillying, and had the opportunity of applying for the fishery manager's post when it was advertised, and lucky enough to be given the position. Yeah, I see it as a real opportunity for myself. You know, it is a job that I would have wanted. So whilst I worked for BT for a good number of years, I retired from them I would say 3 years ago. But I've always had an association with the river.
Mixing that hobby and work is a bit of a dream, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is a dream, and Eddie has been great to me all the times I've been fishing the river. Whether it's just been asking for the odd day or which beats to fish and giving advice. And I always remember the first hour I rang up Eddie to get a date, and it was August bank holiday, the English bank holiday. In 1993 I was up and had a spare day, and I remember him saying, he says, well, you can fish on beat 10, but I don't really want to take your money because it's not fishing very well, but I insisted I had a cast, so I remember the first conversation very well.
Very good. Now, speaking of my father and Doogie, obviously they're taking a step back from the day-to-day run of affairs, and that's two large pair of shoes to fill, an awful lot of experience. And what do you think in terms of your thoughts on the season moving forward this year?
Right. Season moving forward, I think the good thing is the quality of the river. And I think the work that everybody's done, in the past, Eddie, Doogie, the work that we've done on maintaining the river, the electrofishing that is done has shown that the river has got a fantastic stock of juvenile fish. We've been classed as a category 1, which is great, but I think if you speak to the scientist Alan Youngson, their reports of what the condition of the fish, the state of the river, for me that's the river is the fishing. Well, obviously it is the fishing, and having the river in such good condition is a godsend to anybody taking the river over. I suppose when I first took on the job of just gilling, I obviously realised how much experience Doogie had, how much experience Eddie had. But I suppose sometimes it's not until you they were stepping down, the articles in the Trout and Salmon, what people were saying to me. I suppose it hit home then. I thought, oops. They are big shoes to fill. They are big shoes to fill. The people on the Thurso that come to fish, they've got a great loyalty to the river. They fished in the poor times now, and now they're looking at some good times in terms of the fish being caught. So I say to all of them, I'm not Eddie. I will be my own man, but I can't ignore what has been done in the past, how well the river's been run in the past, and I can't see myself making any dramatic changes to the way things are. Times do change. The government will change things for us, and we will have to adapt to that. But you look at the history of the river. You look at what's been done in the past. The knowledge of the fish in the river. Speaking to Doogie about when the fish run, he had I think a lot of insight when he was doing the netting. Seeing the fish. We don't see the fish when you see the fish come into the river when the water's right. But someone like Doogie knew exactly when the fish were going to arrive, how they behaved at sea, and they're still going to be there. And they have both said, I'll be talking to them on a regular basis. I know there'll be things that I will have to ask them.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and I'm very grateful for Eddie and Doogie for leaving the river in such good condition.
Excellent. Okay, good stuff. Now, one final question, that is your prediction on when you think the first fish is going to come off in 2016 and where it's going to be.
Well, I suppose the safe bet would be the last week of February at the top of the river. That's
what everybody's been saying.
That's the safe bet. But the history is that's not always the case. And I think we've got a cold spell of weather coming up. If we do get the cold spell and the river drops, beat 4. The Hoy Pool has had first fish on a number of times. So unfairly, I think some of the top beats get the attention. The people with the spring rotation, they like the 13s, they like the 12s, the 9s. But 8's. I think I'll go for 8.
Beat 8.
I'll go for 8. Second week of February.
Excellent. There we go. Nice and early.
Yeah, I think. I hope so.
Well, here's hoping, yeah. Well, Tim, thank you very much. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody when we say we wish you all the best in the season ahead.
Cheers, Sam.
Okay. So now I'd like to interview the newest member to the team, Cammy Chapman. Welcome, Cammy. Now, you're new to here, so can you tell us, first off, how did you get involved in the Thurso?
I was invited up here by a friend, and I was involved in the periphery of the Pink Linda Cancer Awareness Charity. Linda Sutherland is a lady from the village who's been suffering from breast cancer, so I was invited up here as a part of that process, and it all took off from there. I immediately fell in love with the place. I've never seen a river that's so prolific, and I decided that this would be a great place for me to stay and fish if I got the opportunity.
Now, where do you think the first fish is going to be caught this year, and where do you think it's going to be landed?
In terms of when the first fish will come off, I don't think there's been a better opportunity for the first clean fish to come off in January this year. But I think more realistically, it could be into February. And as far as the pools are concerned, there's a number of cracking pools that would definitely produce a spring fish. Most notably, I would have thought, starting from the top and working down, would have been 13, anywhere on 12. The Rock Pool on 9 is a cracking spot. The Cribs Eye on 10, and I could go on and on and on, but I think these are some of the key spots in the upper river, and in the lower river that could be anywhere, as long as you can get the right pausing point and you're determined enough to have your fly on the river for long enough. I've never seen another river anywhere in Scotland where the salmon love to take the fly so much. The 18th of March on Beat 9, I fished all over Scotland. I've never seen another river where, when there's fish in the river, they're so keen to move to the fly. Never seen it. I fished the Brora, fished the Helmsdale, the Tweed all the time. You know, this is a special, special place. No question about it. I think it's to do with the size and the depth of the river. But any fish that venture in here are keen to come to the fly. And as a salmon angler, that's what you want.
Well, Cammy, thanks very much for joining us today, and we wish you all the very best for the 2016 season.